I would like to tell you the story of 4 Queensland-born women who were the pioneers of research at Mater. I knew 3 of these women when they were in their 90s, but we can imagine them as young women, keen to experiment, to study and to discover. Science was a consuming passion for Katie Frances England, who was born in Rockhampton in 1871. She was a versatile young woman who trained at the Brisbane General Hospital to be a nurse. In her lifetime, she was a nurse, a matron, a tutor sister, a laboratory technician, and a keen gardener. Kate became a Sister of Mercy in 1904, and her religious name was Sister Mary Chanel. In 1919, during the Spanish flu pandemic, Queensland's first hospital laboratory was established at Mater by Dr. James Dewig and Sister Mary Chanel. During the 1920s, the Mater laboratory sent out ever-increasing numbers of test results for conditions such as goiter and kidney disease that were prevalent in Queensland at that time. Sister Chanel was known to be someone who was never content with good enough, but always wanted to improve techniques and methods. It is said that she saved for her first microscope by doing laundry for the more affluent patients at Mater Private. She is also known to have said, "Scientific work is costly and shows no immediate cash return, but medical science is worthy of a generous endowment." Sarah Mary Higgins, who became Sister Mercia Mary, was a trained pharmacist when she joined the laboratory staff in 1930. Sister Mercia, or Sally as she was called by her family, came from central Queensland. At that time, Queensland law required pharmacies to be owned by pharmacists, so the Mater Pharmacy was registered in her name. Sister Mercia was a woman of many parts, though she always said domestic arts were not her forte. She was an avid reader of mystery novels, as well as the latest scientific and medical journals. She was described as short of stature, with a full figure, a hearty laugh and a fund of common sense. When Sister Chanel died in 1947, Sister Mercia took over running the laboratory, as well as being senior pharmacist. She remained the chief pharmacist at Mater Private until the end of 1965 and was elevated to the status of Fellow of the Pharmaceutical Society of Queensland in 1980. 10 years later, she was named Fellow of the Pharmaceutical Society of Australia, thus recognising her pioneering work in establishing the first pharmacy within a private hospital and many laboratory services. Like many as scientists, Sister Mercia was an innovator. When blood was needed for a patient, she came to the rescue. She trained in venipuncture, so she could always be called upon to take blood from a donor. A great story is told by one of her early nursing associates, who recalls with some humour accompanying Sister Mercia to Bogger Road Jail with her trusty sterile flask, stirring rod and other paraphernalia, relieving a jail warder of the required amount of blood and bringing it back for a Mater patient. Mercia's dream was to develop pharmaceutical services and research at Mater by training others. The third person I will introduce you to is Margaret Elizabeth Monaghan, known as Sister Mary St. Rita. Margaret was born in Claremont, 390 kilometres northwest of Rockhampton in 1906. She joined the Sisters of Mercy in 1926 and began nursing training in 1929. After a short period in nursing, she was one of the pioneer sisters in pathology. She had a brilliant mind and developed expertise in haematology, microbiology, serology and histology. In the 1960s, she established a cytology department to provide a pap smear service for the detection of cervical cancer. In 1975, Rita was awarded honorary certification by the Australian Cytology Society for her outstanding contribution to cytotechnology. The fourth pioneer sister I have chosen is Claire Clark, who joined the Sisters of Mercy in 1927 and was known as Sister St. Roque. She too began her career as a nurse, and over 30 years she relieved in all wards in the public hospital, worked in the eye department and in casualty, did night duty, supervised the purchase of stocks, and was a tutor sister. Multitasking was practiced at the Mater long before it became a word we would use today. Sister St. Roque was the pioneer in medical photography and in technology in the neurosurgical field. When Dr. Tokley, who was medical superintendent at Mater, established Queensland's first neurosurgical unit, she volunteered to be the technician in the encephalography department. She studied and passed senior maths at age 65. She gained national and international acclaim for her scientific work, but simply saw herself as living the Mater motto, for God and humanity. To give you some idea of the calibre of these women, I'll tell you one of their outside laboratory activities. Hansen's disease, leprosy patients had been treated at the Mater Hospital and their blood smears had been processed in the Mater's pathology department. It was through these contacts that the link to the patients at Peel Island was established. Not being content to treat these people as mere numbers in a waiting room or initials on a list of blood samples, the sisters, led by Sister Mercia Mary, made it their business to visit them on Peel Island. This was a bold step because of the public neurosis that the stigma of leprosy engendered. It is said that their main fear was not of contracting Hansen's disease, but of getting their cloaks wet as they stepped off the boat. These pioneer women were all born in rural Queensland. They began their professional lives as nurses. They became Sisters of Mercy and were dedicated to their profession as nurses and as scientists. As a sideline, they spent many hours fundraising for Mater with fetes and bazaars, using their skills in sewing, crochet, cooking and gardening. Such is the story of 4 women who were pioneers. It is fitting for us to remember them in the following words taken from the song Standing on the Shoulders. We are standing on the shoulders of the ones who came before us. They are saints and they are humans. They are angels, they are friends. We can see beyond the struggles and the troubles and the challenge when we know that by our efforts, things will be better in the end.